When humans make choices under pressure, we assume the outcomes are random. But human behavior follows specific mathematical laws. It snaps into predictable orbits. The bedrock of modern behavioral economics is Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky's prospect theory, the primary axiom used to model decision-making under risk. This coordinate plane maps objective gains and losses against how we subjectively value them, visualized through the S-curve value function. The concave path in the upper right quadrant demonstrates diminishing marginal utility. When facing prospective gains, most people avoid risk, preferring a guaranteed win over a gamble. In the lower left quadrant, the curve follows a steeper convex geometry. Losses mathematically loom larger than equivalent gains, driving people to take aggressive risks just to avoid a certain loss. This fourfold pattern is the unquestioned consensus used to design nearly all modern economic and political policy. However, during high-stakes socio-political events, specific subpopulations behave in ways that break this predictive model entirely. Psychologists identify the driver of this anomaly as the need for chaos, a trait linked to individuals who perceive themselves as marginalized by society. The need for chaos operates as a high-variance psychological strategy designed specifically to gain personal status by aggressively disrupting our established social hierarchies. High NFC actors move counter to the predicted prospect theory curve, adopting the exact opposite risk profile of the general population. This psychological baseline rewrites the math of risk utility. These actors seek risk when anticipating gains and avoid risk when anticipating losses. Current policy models lack the variables necessary to account for the erratic shifts produced by these high-variance actors. To isolate this demographic, we have to look at the specific psychometric profile of the chaotic actor. On the horizontal diverging bar chart, need for chaos correlates heavily with specific deficits in stabilizing personality traits. The left-leaning bars for agreeableness and conscientiousness identify an under-controlled personality prototype, one prone to interpersonal conflict. Simultaneously, the markers for need for cognition and risk orientation extend sharply to the right. These markers identify an active, cognitive evaluation of risk, which serves distinct status-seeking goals. This is a cognitive profile optimized for exploiting instability, a theory researchers recently tested against a real-world national crisis. The empirical testing ground for this anomaly was the May 2023 U.S. congressional debt ceiling negotiations. Researchers presented participants with two national policies, Deal A, which guaranteed a job preservation outcome, and Deal B, which offered a probabilistic gamble. In the jobs gained frame, the options focused on the number of positions preserved. In the jobs lost frame, the exact same probabilities were described in terms of millions of positions lost. Both deals maintained the same mathematical expected value, regardless of how they were worded. For the baseline population, the framing worked as predicted. Under the gain frame, 67% chose the certain outcome of Deal A. Under the loss frame, 59% of that same group chose the gamble of Deal B. For most people, strategic framing directs risk appetite with high precision. This line graph isolates high NFC individuals. We plot the probability of choosing the risky gamble against the chaos score. As the score approaches its maximum, the gain frame line pulls upward. High chaos actors become aggressively risk-seeking. They view a high-variance win as an affective trigger, a rare opportunity to leapfrog their marginalized status and disrupt the hierarchy. The loss frame produces the opposite result. The probability of taking the gamble slopes downward, indicating extreme risk aversion. When faced with systemic collapse, their sensitivity to marginalization spikes. They lock in the certain outcome to protect what status they still hold. This point of intersection marks a complete statistical reversal of the standard human behavioral model. These individuals are highly sensitive to framing, but they calculate the utility of risk in reverse. Need for chaos acts as a powerful modifier, turning the standard economic model of humanity inside out. High NFC actors use disruption as a specific tool for status acquisition. They pursue disruption when it offers a probabilistic leap in status, and they fiercely avoid risks that threaten total systemic ruin. This reality creates a critical gap for the elites and economists tasked with managing national crises. Strategic messaging is typically optimized for the general population. When directed at a high chaos demographic, those same messages trigger a behavioral rebound, causing the audience to move against the primary current. By relying on aggregate data, our models treat this behavior as statistical noise, rather than a distinct strategic adaptation to marginalization. Until our models account for the logic of the need for chaos, our institutions will remain vulnerable to those willing to break them.